Dinosaur bones, turned into stone by the passage of unimaginable time. These fossils are almost all that's left behind of the most magnificent creatures ever to roam this planet. It's not much, but to me, it's everything. My name is Huxley, and I'm a paleontologist. That means I've spent my life scratching in the ground for what these creatures have left behind, analyzing clues frozen in time. Pieces of a puzzle that help us imagine what life was like then. Just wait until you see where they can take us. Back to a world ruled by giant reptiles. A strange place where mountainous herbivores fought for survival against terrifying predators. So come with me on an extraordinary adventure, and you won't even have to leave your seats. Let's use these clues to travel back to a time when the world was young and the dinosaurs were huge. Come with me on a journey. Come walking with dinosaurs! Just how far back have you traveled? Well, think back to when your parents were kids, then back to when your grandparents were kids, and then all the way back to when your great-grandparents were kids. Now multiply that by about 3 million, and you're getting close. There are no houses, no roads, no grass, and as for trees, it's a landscape dominated by conifers. All ferns, no flowers, no Rocky Mountains, no Atlantic Ocean, no ice caps, no Europe, and no Asia. Just one single continent called Pangea. And of course, there are no humans like you and me. The nearest relation to us looks like a cross between a mongoose and a lizard, which could explain some politicians. So here we are, in a period known as the Triassic. Now that's about 220 million years BC. It's a time of vast deserts and withering droughts, but somehow life holds on. Animals have developed ingenious ways to survive since they first crawled out of the ocean, including one particular miracle of engineering known as the egg. These eggs are like drought survival packages, and they're everywhere in the Triassic. Every animal that walks these harsh Pangean plains hatches from an egg. It's a kingdom of hatchlings walking on eggshells. Then something new occurs. A new type of creature evolves out of this harsh landscape. The dinosaur. thought they were going to be bigger, didn't you? But don't worry, they grow a lot. In fact, this amazing group of reptiles will come to rule the world. But first, these little guys have to survive. And in this vicious environment, that'll take sharp instinct. And something even more important, luck. Because with all these babies around, for the carnivore, it's always feeding time. That's Lillian Sternus, one of the first of the dinosaur predators. Walks on two legs like we do. He's fast and agile, perfectly adapted to his environment. Now, the story of the dinosaurs is not always a pretty one. Now, this guy may look a little different than pictures of the Lillian Sternus that you might have seen in books. And that's because we now believe that the Lillian Sternus had that spiky crest of feathers, giving him kind of a punk rock look. His agility gives him the edge over other reptiles, but dinosaurs won't stop there. Creatures like this will dominate the landscape. Eventually all droughts end and the wet seasons return. The rains finally fall and new things grow. The first of the giants. The wet seasons are still irregular and brief. For 75% of the year, life is threatened in this dry, parched landscape. So to conserve liquid, Platysaurus doesn't sweat or even pee. No wonder she looks a little bloated. food. In the dry season, with vegetation scarce, Plateosaurus is a survival machine. Her long neck allows her to graze on the ground and from trees above. Nope, they're at it again. It's the start of an arms race between herbivores and predators. And at least this time, the big vegetarian prevails. And that's good news for the next generation. Hey, don't forget the kids. Other species come and go, but dinosaurs continue to evolve. Big ones, small ones, fast ones, and slow ones. Building on a great design, the world is theirs for the taking. So do you see how far dusting off a few old bones can take us? By the way, did you know that the ground beneath our feet is always moving? Now here in the Triassic, but also in the more familiar 21st century. It's called plate tectonics, and it never stops. Well, you'd think we'd be falling over all the time, wouldn't you? But it doesn't work like that. You see, the ground moves slowly. At about the same speed our fingernails grow. Now that we can handle. But what if we sped it up, say, millions of years per second? Hold tight. Here we go. The single continent of Pangaea is breaking apart. Across the globe. Australia, for instance, starts off on the equator, but it will drift down, collide with the Antarctic, and then come bouncing right back. For now, Pangea, the huge single continent from that first age of the dinosaurs, has split, and it leaves a series of narrow seaways between the new land masses. All this movement has an even greater legacy. Mountains are created and ocean currents change. This has a dramatic effect on the weather. The level of rainfall increases and vegetation explodes across this new world. Welcome to the Jurassic period, a glorious time for dinosaurs. Not to mention Steven Spielberg. So, what do you think we'll find here? Oh, look at this, a footprint. I love this because, believe it or not, something as delicate as a footprint can be fossilized in rock for millions of years. And why is a footprint so important to a paleontologist like me? Well, most fossils I find are from corpses, teeth and bones left behind where a creature died. Okay, so that's what they look like when they died. But footprints are an example of trace fossils that tell us how a creature lived. Now, these are treasures left behind by living animals, fleeting moments of a creature's life captured in stone. Trace fossils can be teeth marks on bones, burrows, or even dung dropped on the ground and dug up by someone like me. But footprints are my favorite because they tell us so much about dinosaurs. Single tracks can reveal stride length, speed, size, and stance of the beast, while groups of tracks can suggest herd structures or movements of migration, more pieces of the puzzle. Come on, let's be trackers and see what we can find. Now, this is a predator print. You can tell by the distinctive 3 claws. It's kind of like a giant bird's foot. There's another. And another. This is pretty cool. I mean, now I'm actually walking with dinosaurs. Oh, he's over here. These are herbivore prints walking side by side. But then look here, something happened. The stride length changes. And these marks here, what do they signify? Attack! This is the moment where the predator struck its prey. Yes. Oh, there's so many mysteries and discoveries to find, especially here in the Jurassic period. But we didn't come here just to look at footprints. Look at that! Stegosaurus! But it's possible. I think they make him look bigger than he actually is. A form of display to intimidate. See, from the front, he's tall and slender. But from the side, he is a mountain of dinosaurs. and check out these spikes on its tail. At up to 4 feet long, they can pierce through the toughest hides. You know, you would think that Stegosaurus wouldn't be afraid of anything. Whoop. That is, until you meet Allosaurus. Now this guy is a lion of the Jurassic, at up to 3 tons of massive predator. But he's as fast and agile as his little ancestor, Liliostarus. He needs to eat his own weight in food every month. And it looks like that wasn't enough, and he's in the mood for a little Stegosaurus. This should be interesting. planes came. With no firemen around to put them out, fires can last for years. But here's the cool part. Once the rain extinguishes the flames, plants reclaim the burnt landscape. Ash from the fire feeds the soil to help new life grow. Are you ready? It's time for us to be on the move again. We're zooming ahead to the late Jurassic period, an even more spectacular world full of dinosaurs. Well, the Allosaurus has made it. And he looks pretty much the same. Yeah, still hungry. And who's this? It's a Brachiosaurus who's been separated from his herd. He'll stretch to 75 feet long, or the length of 2 buses. And he's going to weigh over 40 tons, or more than 10 adult elephants. I'll give or take an adult elephant. And how does it get so big? Well, from the day he breaks out of an egg, about the size of a football, he begins his lifelong obsession with eating that allows him to gain 1 ton per year. And that's just on a diet of ferns and pine, not a single French fry. Separated from the herd leaves a young Brachiosaurus vulnerable to attack. Our journey is far from over. With the end of the Jurassic period, the age of dinosaurs has reached a peak. Life on Earth will never again be this grand. But it will get a lot scarier. Stick around.
Ladies and gentlemen.
30 million years slipped by in what seemed like a 20-minute intermission. Well, a lot can happen in 30 million years. While we were away, the Jurassic gave way to the Cretaceous period. The continents have been on the move as usual, and a new ocean has opened up, separating the Americas from Europe and Africa. It will become the Atlantic. Only one group of reptiles can possibly bridge this watery gap and cross continents. For nearly 80 million years now, flying reptiles have soared over the earth. These pterosaurs dominate the skies. Recently, though, these extraordinary creatures have started to get bigger, much bigger. One of the largest is the Ornithocheirus. His body is not much bigger than ours, but with a wingspan 40 feet wide, and he's covered in fine fur like a bat. His bones are hollow to keep him as light as possible, and those huge wings give him 150 square feet to catch the wind. And they're filled with sensors that constantly send information to the brain so he can trim his sails and float along the softest breeze. Watch how he glides, riding the air. He can travel over 40 miles from a cliff top or on a moon updraft from these volcanic fissures. Ornithocheirus is a constant wanderer. On he travels over open water, moving easily between the newly created continents. He stays up there for hours, searching for food, day and night. Place out here for him to stop and refuel, so he feeds on fish along the way. Flying just above the water, he skewers his prey with the sharp teeth and that long beak. But there's a storm brewing, and a huge glider like this will need to find someplace to roost. But will he make it? Predators know it. Here comes a nasty bunch. A gang of killers nicknamed Raptors. Meet the Utah Raptors. It's finished. Eating time is usual. And there is a definite pecking order. The week or two will have to wait for their meals. Nothing like the dinner table at your house, I'm sure. Now you see feathers here too. The more flamboyant plumage is on the two males. The female doesn't need to be so fancy because she's the boss. Those males are trying to please her. Again, nothing like your house, right? Oh, none for you. Do you hear those sounds they make? Raptors are intelligent enough to communicate with each other. It helps them work as a team in pursuit of their prey. Those sleek, muscled bodies are held in perfect balance by their tails. The tail constantly adjusts as the raptor slinks forward. Graceful, but deadly. You wouldn't want to run into one of these guys in a dark alley. And look at their arms. The way they tuck them away at their sides. The way they fold at the wrist. The way they're held. Does that remind you of anything? Hold that thought. We'll get back to it. But the thing I find most interesting about the raptors is their concentration. See, as he walks, his head hardly moves. His eyes stay fixed on the goal ahead. But they're quick when they need to be. He's pretty smart for a dinosaur. We tend to think that a bigger brain makes a creature smarter, but for the raptor, it's quality, not quantity that counts. Time. We travel through time. Millions of years fly by until we come to rest in the mid-Cretaceous period, where there's a new addition to the landscape of conifers and ferns. Flowers. Think of this. Until now, no creature on Earth has ever seen the color of a bloom. But now with the arrival of flowers, it's beginning to look a bit more like the world we know. Well, maybe just a little bit. So how did that happen? Well, it's all because of insects. Here's how it works. You see, insects were around for 100 million years before dinosaurs, but they had nothing to do with pollination. Plants used to be fertilized by either wind or water. But in the Cretaceous period, they discover another way. Now, insects were always feeding on plants, and eventually, they start to carry pollen from one plant to another. Well, this works really well for the plants, so they start to reward the insects with delicious nectar. That keeps them coming back for more, and then the plants begin to compete with each other to attract the insects with color. It's their weapon of mass attraction. If you're a good-looking plant, you flourish. Hey, look over here, red. No, come to me, I'm yellow. Who wants purple? The more flowers, the more insects. And the more insects, the more flowers. That's how coevolution works. And this is one of the most beautiful examples. So now, we see more types of insects coming into being because of all the flowers. Like bees. And wasps. Moths. Butterflies. Miracles of natural engineering, beautifully evolved to feed on flowers, which then reward them with sweet nectar and brilliant color. Nature at its most perfect. Well, almost perfect. Anyway, that's all flowers are really. Beautiful examples of reproductive display. For us, it would be kind of like perfume or sports cars. Animals had them too. And dinosaurs had them in a big way. That huge crest is his reproductive display. His horns and crest give him status among his kind. He's got the biggest skull of any land animal ever. And yet, he is pretty sociable. He likes to live in herds. Well, he's sociable up to a point. He is territorial. Males dominate the herds, and this guy is master of his turf. So with that massive head and the safety of herds, what on earth could threaten Torosaurus? Not much. Except another Torosaurus. This younger male is ready to challenge his authority as leader of the herd. A last resort for the Torosaurus. It's often just a battle of posturing, but these two look like they're really gonna mix it up. This time, youth conquers experience. After dominating the herd for decades, the older Torosaurus surrenders to his young challenger. This victory is a triumph for the species, an example of natural selection, survival of the fittest in the evolution of these king-sized herbivores. Okay, you know what? I was actually hoping that this would happen. See, when you're walking with dinosaurs, you gotta watch your step. And when dealing with king-sized herbivores, you got to expect a bit of king-sized poo. Actually, hundreds of tons of dinosaur dung are dumped each year. Now, this may seem disgusting to you, but to a paleontologist like me, this big old pile of poo contains even more pieces of the dinosaur puzzle. And it's pretty important to another creature as well. And if we're lucky, we might just find one. Oh, yeah, I think I got one here. Yeah, the dung beetle. Oh, yeah, he was in there eating away, just as they will be millions of years from now in the 21st century. Okay, all right, I'm gonna get back to his dinner here. There you go. Recycling, every little bit helps. And I did mention that it's not always a pretty story. Well, not everything in the garden is rosy. Time slips by again. We're now at the end of the Cretaceous period, and the Earth is still on the move. India piles into Asia, and the collision throws up massive volcanoes. Sulfurous plumes of smoke and ash are drifting from their peaks. Centuries they spew their gases and poison the earth. Temperatures rise and there's acid rain, so some of the more delicate plants are already disappearing. And where plants go, animals tend to follow. A harsher world now. Across the globe, on land and in the sea, hundreds of species of plants and animals are dying out. Among the dinosaurs, the arms race has reached new heights. Some predators have gotten bigger, and some herbivores have found that better armor is their best defense. For instance, the amazing Ankylosaurus. This is the most heavily armored animal of all time. Vertebrae and bony plates have fused together to create a moving fortress. Like a tank, he is beyond penetration. Even his eyelids are armored. And if that isn't enough, his tail has hardened into a club. This 150-pound ball of bone. He senses that Torosaurus is another herbivore and doesn't pose any threat. Ankylosaurus' skull is so heavily reinforced that there is not a lot of room for a brain inside. So it's not just his armor that's a bit dense. Well, who needs brains when you've got that kind of brawn? Through natural selection, each generation has piled on more and more armor, but it begs the question, what will get through to Ankylosaurus? Who could possibly break through his defenses? It'll take something extraordinary. A new breed. The most notorious carnivore ever to live. Tyrannosaurus Rex! Okay, that's just the baby. They get bigger. A full-grown T-Rex can swallow 140 pounds in one mouthful. That's about the weight of 2 supermodels. His eyesight is not very good, but Ankylosaurus can instantly sense a predator, even a small one like this. And I think our little T-Rex here has eyes a bit too big for his stomach. It wasn't only bigger teeth and better armor that allowed the dinosaurs to evolve throughout their arms race. It could be... As I was saying, it wasn't only bigger teeth and better armor that allowed the dinosaurs to survive. It was because some lived after their young. Some lived in herds, others hunted in packs. In a word, it was their versatility. Without this, they could never have dominated the globe for so long. At the end of the late Cretaceous period, we stand in a fading paradise. Sulfurous gases stream from the Earth's belly, creating a deadly fog of poison on the land. We find ourselves at a decisive moment in history. In the history of the dinosaurs and in the history of the world. This Tyrannosaurus has helped her child survive, but all her power and strength will count for nothing in the face of what's to come. An event that no creature could prepare for. A comet 6.5 miles across, traveling at 20 miles per second, is hurtling toward a shallow sea in an area that will come to be called the Gulf of Mexico. the dust clouds blocking out the sun and suffocating the earth. The destruction of over 65% of all life on the planet. The destruction of the giant dinosaurs. Bones, dinosaur bones, turned into stone by the passage of unimaginable time. We think of dinosaurs as an exotic breed, fierce creatures from a mythical world, when the fact is, they ruled our planet for 170 million years. We've been here just a fraction of that, roaming the earth where they once did. And if you look closely, you'll see that they're not really gone, not completely. Remember the raptors? Remember their feathers and their arms, the way they folded at the wrist? Well, the next time you're outside, take a look at a bird and imagine him 600 times the size and with razor-sharp teeth. So don't mourn the dinosaurs. They're still with us.